Welcome to the Geeks and Greeks podcast, where we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports. I'm Adam.
And I'm Tom, and in this episode for Wednesday, December 10th, 2025, we have Geeks and Greeks news, QB Survivor, and winners and losers for Week 14.
As well as our predictions for Week 15, post-mortem for the Falcons, Browns, Commanders, and Jets. So grab your favorite team's jersey, settle in with some snacks, and get ready for an adrenaline-packed ride through the world of sports.
And here we go.
All right, guys. Well, we are in the back half of the NFL season. Been in the back quarter, actually. We're coming up to the end. This is the final push for the regular season. It is too fast, man. And, I mean, before we really quite get into our full show, obviously, as you kind of see, Pete's not with us this week. He's got some things that have come up, so it's going to be just the two of us today. But we're still going to give you a good show. It's still going to be a fun time, and how's your week been with the coming up here on Christmas as well? How's your week been, Tom?
Pretty good. We're busy at work because we're adding a new facility, so we have to update all of our software for the new location. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely going to make us earn that Christmas bonus.
Nice. Always gotta earn that Christmas bonus. But yeah, we've kind of got, I don't know, I feel like almost the opposite. There's kind of been some ups and downs lately. I've had some busy stuff coming through, but overall it's been kind of a little more laid back this year for December. But I don't know, I guess our people have, a lot of our customers have kind of fairly well stocked for the year, so we haven't been quite as busy. At least my department hasn't been quite as busy, so it's not as bad at work, which is kind of nice. But we've got also inventory this weekend, so
I hate
which
inventory.
It's not bad for us because basically we have to just kind of go and be there. I'm not actually physically doing any inventory. I'm just basically supervising, as if you even want to call it that, because I'm not even really on the floor doing stuff. We're just kind of chilling out and hanging and just making sure nothing really goes like completely, off the wall and, server crashes and kind of stuff like that. So it's like we don't really do anything. We basically show up and kind of just hang out. So I don't have to do anything. So whereas it kind of sucks to have to go in, I don't really have to do anything. So it's not terrible. Could be a lot worse. So I don't complain about it that much. So plus, especially since I'm still technically an hourly employee, I get paid the whole time I'm there.
There you go.
As long as I get my 40 hours in by Friday, anything I clock in by Saturday when I get there is all extra.
But that moves us into Geeks and Greeks news.
Yeah.
It is a dark day for the Colts fans as Colts quarterback Daniel Jones is out for the rest of the season with a torn Achilles, if I remember right.
Achilles, unfortunately.
This may be the final nail in the coffin for the Colts season that was already on life support. The Colts are calling on 2026 Hall of Fame nominee Philip Rivers to fill in for Daniel Jones. Philip Rivers is eligible for the Hall of Fame. That means he hasn't played for over 5 years. And even when he was playing, he was middle of the road.
That's generous. I'm pretty sure had we had QB Survivor when Philip Rivers' last season was, he wouldn't have made the initial cut to make it to the season.
To be fair, neither did Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I know. That's my point. But
I'm glad they got Philip Rivers. I don't know if this is going to move the needle at all.
I feel kind of bad. Like, Dude, is there literally nobody else in the free agent pool that you could get? Like, also, does this ruin his Hall of Fame for this season? Because he has to not have played.
Yep.
So he can't go in the Hall of Fame now. It's like, dude, really?
Nope.
Like, why would you take away the Hall of Fame ballot just to play? Like, I don't get this, man. Like, let Riley... I mean, I think also Riley Leonard may have gotten hurt last week, too.
Yeah, he did.
Which is, like... So you're down to legitimately a 44-year-old bag of bones that you're calling on after 5 years of not playing. Like, this is worse than the icy hot bowl we had earlier this year between Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, because at least they had been playing football. Phillip Rivers hasn't played in 4 years.
To give you context, the last time Phillip Rivers played, COVID was a thing.
Wow, yeah, it was. My God. We were in the COVID season. Oh, wow.
That was actually the first thing he said when he came to the podium was no Zoom calls this time. And it's because the last time he did a press conference, it was over Zoom.
Like, it's insane, man. Like, I can't believe that there's, like, no other competent quarterback sitting. Like, it just boggles my mind, man. Like, next you're going to tell me that Jay Cutler's going to come back for somebody. I mean, at this point, the Dolphins may as well call him up and replace Tua with him.
Oh, that would be awful.
You might have a better chance at winning a game at this point.
We're just resurrecting old quarterbacks. Tom Brady takes the tie off and puts on the pads.
Would that be the first owner of an NFL franchise to ever be an active player? I mean,
Man, talk about a conflict of interest, especially if he's playing against the Raiders.
No, he played for the Raiders. Gino's hurt.
Oh, that's right. Gino's hurt. All right, yeah.
So
get the owner in there.
I mean, I think I'd rather have Tom Brady playing than Kenny Pickett.
Good God, yeah, that would... You know, I know it would be awful, but at the same time, I don't think it could get any worse.
Then he'd have an excuse to hang up his jersey in the Raiders rafters. He's the owner now, right?
Can you just imagine the black and white 12 just running out of that tunnel?
Wow. I could. I mean, we've seen it before. It's as if no one has ever worn the 12. Rich Gannon wore it back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but it's a little different when Tom Brady wears it.
I know, right? Could you just imagine that black and white, just this thing Brady as he comes up the tunnel?
I feel dirty now. I don't like it.
Is it more dirty that it's Brady or that it's the Raiders?
And it's Brady. It's Brady.
Come on. Let the Raiders live.
All right, moving on to the next story. The college football playoffs has been solidified with James Madison against Oregon in the first round. The winner of that goes on to play Texas Tech. Alabama versus Oklahoma. Winner of that goes on to play IU. Tulane versus Ole Miss. Winner of that goes on to play Georgia. And then Miami versus Texas A&M. The winner of that moving on to play Ohio State. What? No, Notre Dame. Weird.
No, they lost when they lost to Miami. This is what happens when you're not part of a conference, man. This is what happens when you're not part of a conference and you want to claim it's tradition because you just want to hoard the money. Because that's what this is. And then Notre Dame comes out and says, well, because we weren't part of the college football playoff, we're not going to participate in any of the bowl games either. We're just going to sit the entire bowl season out. And this is just children throwing a temper tantrum and going home with the ball. That's all this is. This is a bad look for the university, a bad look for the athletic director, and it makes everybody that's associated look terrible.
Now, I will say this is kind of the bed you've made, that you have chosen not to be part of a conference, therefore you are not supported by a conference. So you get to make your own schedule, but at the same time you are also subject to the ridicule that goes along with it. I do not shed tears for Notre Dame. This is kind of, you brought this on yourself.
Now, I will say, and I will play a little bit of a devil's advocate to a point to where when Notre Dame joined the ACC for every other collegiate sport minus football, it meant a bit more because they had to play a partial ACC schedule, and this was before we got these super conferences like we have now. So it was actually a bit of an actually decent schedule. But now when you've got these conferences that have a bunch of just garbage teams at the bottom, and every conference does. It's not just the ACC, the Big Ten, the SEC, Big 12 all have these garbage teams at the bottom. It means less and less because you have these huge conferences that have just ruined college football. But at the same time, Notre Dame still schedules teams that mean nothing. Like, people say that the Notre Dame Navy game is a traditional game. Maybe. It means nothing in 2025. It meant nothing in 2000. It only meant something in the 50s and 60s when Navy was actually a good football team. Like, some of these games that Notre Dame schedules literally mean absolutely nothing and doesn't help their resume. Like, you could still schedule playing USC, but USC isn't that good anymore. You can still schedule playing good teams. You just choose not to. Whereas everyone else has to play conference games. And because they have to play conference games, sometimes they take an easier schedule. That's the difference. Because you're independent, you choose the entirety of your schedule. And that's what you get hit for. I honestly don't think they should even qualify for the college football playoff at all unless they're in a conference. It should be an automatic no until you join a conference.
And if you do, may I recommend the Big Ten, who currently consists of 18 teams?
I thought it was 16.
You could become number 19.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if they were to join a conference at this point, it should be the ACC because they're part of the ACC for every other sport.
That is true, but I was just thinking geographically, they're in the middle of.
Which geographically doesn't matter anymore. UCLA and USC are part of the Big Ten, so is Oregon and Washington. So geographics don't mean anything. Like, that's what
weird.
And that's what I hate. That's what I hate about college sports in general. Now that they did this, I hate this. Like, I loved that the conferences were regional. I loved it. It made it so much better. Like, the Pac-10 was all Pacific Coast teams. The Big 12 was, for the most part, more of like the cornfield Midwest, like Nebraska, Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa. It was more of the farming area, I guess. I don't know, because it's Midwest, but it's like the Midwest is such a big area of the U.S. because so is the Big Ten. Because you had Indiana, you had Ohio, you had Michigan, and you had Illinois was the Big Ten, and the Big 12 was the rest of the Midwest. So it's like you had two different Midwest conferences because the Midwest is such a huge geographical area that it took up two different conferences. And then you had the Big East, you had the ACC, which was more of the coast, that went from like Florida up to Massachusetts and Boston College. Those were your four big and the SEC. And then you had the SEC, which is like, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Texas, into some. So, like, I mean, you had the major regions of the U.S. were all the four major conferences. And that's what made it cool. And it's gone now. It just doesn't matter. And also, I don't know if you've realized that when Indiana and Ohio State played in their conference game, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, their seeding didn't matter. They just flipped. IU was 1 and now Ohio State's 2. That's all that changed. Nothing else changed from that game other than bragging rights that IU beat Ohio State for the Big Ten title. Other than that, absolutely nothing else mattered and changed for it. Like, it didn't even matter that they lost. Because whoever would have lost it probably would have stayed. IU may have dropped to number 3 if Ohio State beat them.
Maybe.
But, yeah. I mean, they weren't dropping that much. I mean, obviously they weren't dropping out of the college football playoff in general, but, like, they weren't going to drop past, like, 4. At most, they would have dropped to 4.
No, they definitely were getting the bye in the first round of the of the championship.
Right. But, like, I mean, Ohio State dropped 1 spot. 1. Yeah. And I do also want to say that Ohio State never gave up more than 16 points in a game the entire season, which for college football is incredibly impressive, to not give up more than 16 points in a game all season.
Dude, Ohio State's defense has been friggin' insane. That game between IU and Ohio State, it was all defense. There were no points in the fourth quarter, and it ended 13-10.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. Well, let's just go ahead and move into it.
We'll move into it.
I mean, sorry, we'll move in. I mean, Ohio Big Ten title, IU and Ohio State. This is the first time IU's played for a title since 1967. Legitimately, it's the first, because they last won it in 67. I'm pretty sure they haven't been back since. If they have, please correct me. I could very easily be wrong. I don't follow IU football, and to be fair, not even IU graduates follow IU football until 2 years ago.
No, IU's a basketball school.
Yeah.
No one knew they had a football team until this year.
Year, I guess, too. I'll be fair. People that went to IU and liked the basketball team would root for IU football to the point of the first two games, and that's about it. Nobody truly cared about the football team until Curt Cignetti showed up, and last year. And it's like Duke. IU is a basketball university that has a football team. That every now and then kind of gets good. And I mean, we'll see what IU does now, because the guys that all came with Curt Cignetti when he transferred from IU, from I think James Madison, I forget where he came from, but when he came in, he brought a lot of the guys with him. A lot of those guys were seniors this year. So now comes the new transfer portal, the new rebuild, the new recruiting, and a lot of new guys got to come in. So we'll see what happens after this year. So that core group of guys that followed him are all gone. A lot of them are gone now. So we'll see what happens after this season. But I mean, yeah, that game, there was also the I hate being that guy, but I'm going to say it. The referees were terrible in this game on both sides of the ball. They were terrible in this game. It really felt like they were just not going to call anything. And I'm one for letting the guys play and playing the game play out. But dude, when you can see two offensive linemen holding back a D lineman that should be free, you've got to call that. You can't let that go. There's a difference between letting the guys play and blatantly missing calls.
Yeah, just straight up not doing your...
Yeah, it's like they had money on the game, is what it felt like when you're watching some of the missed calls. It's like watching, remember the Titans at the end when they're missing blatant calls, and it's like, dude, if you don't call the game right, I'm going to go to the papers. It's like that scene when he tells the refs, if you don't call it, I'm ousting every single one of you. And they're like, well, dig your own grave. And he's like, all right, let's go. And they take away his Hall of Fame bid. It felt like that. But I mean, and I'm not saying for one side or the other, both sides had terrible calls that were missed.
Yeah.
It just felt like I was watching that for the referees for this game. It was absolutely terrible.
But closing out this segment, I gotta bring up this hilarious stat that this game was the highest viewership of a Big Ten game in the history of the Big Ten, reaching an average of 18.3 million viewers, peaking at just under 20 million. That's 2 million viewers higher than Game 7 of the NBA Finals, which in itself was a highest viewership for an NBA game in 6 years. Way to go, guys. This was awesome.
I'm telling you, man, IU's just not meant to have, championships. They're meant to get, everything else before the real championship. In Indiana in general. But one final note real quick before we move on. That last field goal, I don't know how you... No. Before the field goal, I don't know how you don't go for it on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 in that spot. I'm sorry. You've got the most talented receiving and running back core in the nation and offensive line. How do you not trust them to go for it in that spot?
Yeah, 4th and short.
I'm sorry, dude. And your quarterback is a Heisman finalist in the top 4 in the country. I'm sorry, dude. It's one thing if it's IU, because while their quarterback is a Heisman finalist, they don't have that talent on the receiving core and the running backs. Whereas Ohio State does. Dude, that to me, that was the worst call of the game. I'm sorry, you got to go for it in that spot.
The worst call of the game wasn't by the refs. It was by the coach.
It was by Ryan Day. That was a bad call. You go for it in that spot. You're already down there. You're at their like 12. What's the worst that happens if you don't make it? They start on their 12-yard line. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no, the defense holds them like they have the entire rest of the game. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that burned me so much when he made that call to go for the field goal. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. You make that call to go for it 10 times out of 10 in today's NFL, in today's college football.
But shifting gears to a different sport, baseball. This week we've had some of the craziest signings in the MLB, with Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers for 3 years, Pete Alonso going to the Orioles for 5, Kyle Schwarber going back to the Phillies for 5, and Dylan Cease to the Blue Jays for 7.
It's funny, that 7 isn't even the longest active MLB contract. We've got guys on 10, 13, and 15-year contracts.
I was going to say, Soto's still got 14 left on his, if I remember right.
Machado has, I think, 5, has like 6 or 7 left on his. And Bryce Harper has another like 7, and so does Mike Trout.
And Ohtani.
Ohtani's got like 10 left on his.
He's got
10, 11.
Part of a decade left
on
his.
And almost all that money left on his contract is deferred until after he's an active player.
Yep.
So, like, I mean, some of these guys, the Schwarber going back to Philly is, I think, a really, really good signing for Philly. Now, I'm not a huge Phillies fan, but I mean, that's a great signing for them to be able to keep him. The fact that the New York Mets have lost basically two of their best players in this, in Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz, really brings up questions, because they have the richest owner in baseball. And he came in saying he's going to spend money, and he has. I mean, the Juan Soto contract, that 15-year, $765 or $56 million contract, broke the bank. It's
I think.
Like, it's the biggest contract ever in MLB. But now, 5 years, $155 for Pete Alonso? How do you not match that? How do you not beat that contract? Like, that's a $30 million annual value. That's not over the top for a top-tier baseball player like that. Like, Edwin Diaz, 3 years, $69. He's only 31, 32. For a closer? Yeah, that's not that bad. I mean, I've heard reports that Diaz was unhappy when they signed reliever a week or so ago, and he wasn't happy and he wanted to leave from that. So that one, you may have kind of lost him from that by itself. But with that signing, the Devin Williams signing earlier, that was more trying to bolster the depth of your bullpen, which was bad. So you needed bullpen help, and getting Devin Williams is good bullpen depth from there. So if he's upset about that, that's a personal issue with him he needs to figure out. But the problem, though, is the one Achilles heel that the Dodgers had was a closer. Now you've got the best closer in baseball.
Yeah, they do.
It's like, how much you want to bet this is probably deferred, and they're paying him probably $5 million this year. So the Dodgers are restocking again for I think this will be a three-peat. Because I think they were back-to-back champions this year. So now they're going to stock up for a possible three-peat, which would be absolutely unheard of in baseball.
You know, I don't like to give the Dodgers credit, because they have the philosophy of throw money at my problems.
But you know what? Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, but yeah, throwing money at problems gets you a 3 years with Diaz.
I mean, it does, but I will say this about baseball. Just because they have the highest payroll doesn't always mean you're going to win.
No.
That's the one thing with baseball.
Showed us that.
Well, the Yankees also haven't had the highest payroll for a while, but like, that's the one thing with baseball. I will give credit. I maybe not credit, but I will say this: baseball, just because you have the highest payroll, does not mean that you're going to win the World Series.
No,
baseball is one of these kind of. It's one of these almost. I hate to make it sound this way, but it's one of these kind of fluky games where if the right team gets hot at the right time and makes the right run, that team can win. And we've seen it before. Like, I mean, the Rangers a couple years ago got hot at the right time and won back in 24, 23. Sorry, guys, I don't remember 100%. But, like, I mean, we've seen teams go on these runs that is just like, this wasn't the best team. Everybody got hot at the right time, and dudes hit and got made just the right plays at the right times that, you know, they just went on these absolutely amazing runs to win the series. And the best team doesn't win all the time. So just because the Dodgers are loading up like this doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win. We'll see what happens. And then we got Dylan Cease coming out of San Diego, who gets a 7-year, $210 million contract, which for the Blue Jays, they needed pitching. And where his floor is a little bit lower because he sometimes has control issues and can walk guys. He's a really good pitcher, and he's an all-star level or higher pitcher. He can be in Cy Young potential if he gets it right. And this is a great pickup for Toronto. And after this World Series, I love that they're trying to go all in and get more guys and load up to try to do this all over again. I love watching this World Series. You know, I've heard rumors of them trying to get other guys as well. I mean, off-season baseball is just starting. The hot stove is always hot. I mean, who knows what we're going to see? I mean, we could see Kyle Tucker going up there. We could see more pitching going up there. You know, some new infield help coming through. This is just the beginning of the MLB offseason, and I'm excited to see what happens. So as more big free agent news and signings and trades happen, we'll kind of keep you updated, guys, as we see it too. So, and now a word from our sponsor. Hey guys, what's up? Before we continue our show, I want to talk to you about our new sponsor, Dubby. You ever feel like you need that extra oomph to power through those late night study sessions, clutch those game wins, or finish that epic video edit? I know I do, and I finally found something that actually works without the jitters or the dreaded crash. Let me introduce you to Dubby. That's right, guys, we're partnering with Dubby and we're seriously hyped. Dubby is our new go-to energy drink, and it is a total game changer. What makes it so different is, first off, and this is huge for me, Dubby has no artificial dyes, plus it's all completely sugar-free. So, you don't get that quick energy spike followed by a massive crash. And the taste is absolutely amazing. Dubby comes with a bunch of different flavors, such as tiger's blood, green apple, strawberry pineapple, plus limited time offers that do go quickly. I'm currently obsessed with the tiger's blood myself, but they're all really good. Alright, so how do you get your hands on this stuff? Head on over to dubby.gg and use our code GEEKS10 for 10% off your entire order. That's dubby.gg, dubby.gg. Seriously guys, go give it a try. You won't regret it. We love this product, and I'm sure you will too. It's definitely been a game changer for us, and I'm stoked to be sharing it with the rest of you. Now, let's go ahead and get back to our show.
And now it's time for QB Survivor.
QB Survivor, where every week we choose a quarterback to eliminate until the end of the regular season, where we find out who is the QB Survivor. This week, Drake May has the golden immunity because he's on the bye. Pete let us know how he felt about this week before he left. Quote, "I might as well be the one to put Jalen up. It's probably long overdue. But the man had 4 interceptions and a fumble. He threw an interception and a fumble in the same play. It was probably his worst career performance, although he wasn't helped by AJ Alligator Arms Brown."
I mean, that's a pretty fair breakdown of the whole situation.
Yeah, I got it. Yep, Pete beat me to it.
Yeah, that was also my number one up for elimination too. I'm not gonna lie.
Adam, who are you nominating for the chopping block?
I'm gonna nominate the counterpart in the same game, Justin Herbert, who also had just a cold fish game too. I mean, this whole game was just bad. Whereas, I mean, Hurts at least, he had 240 yards, but Herbert had 139, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 7 sacks. They got to him 7 times.
7 times.
With a 33 QBR. Like, I mean, this whole game, like, I'm watching this, and I'm just thinking, just, like, is this NFL football? Like, if Herbert's going to play like this, might as well just bench him, put in Trey Lance at this point, dude. Like, he's coming off a broken hand surgery earlier in the week, and they still started him. Like, I know it's his offhand, but still, dude, that's insane. Like, how do you have hand surgery on Monday and play football on Monday? Like, the next Monday. How do you do that? Like, is this like Ripley from like Aliens or something, man? Like, seriously. Like, the dude's got to be a cyborg, right? I can't just be me thinking this. But like, I don't know, man. I was kind of hoping that they would bench Herbert this week only because I had his backup in fantasy and that I would actually get to like use a second quarterback because everybody else I had was either on bye or hurt for quarterbacks. But I mean, it was a bad game, and I don't know how you watch that game as it's going and don't bench him to not get him hurt more when you're gearing up for a playoff push. Like, how do you not preserve him and bench him and let Trey Lance finish the game in the second half? I don't know how you do it. But
you guys took my 1 and 2, so I have to go to my distant third as my nomination. And that is the only quarterback to get 2 interceptions and 5 sacks. And that is Dak Prescott. And I swear I'm not picking on the NFC East. But it's really hard to overlook 2 interceptions and 5 sacks, man. And you lost to Detroit, which that will become even more hilarious later for me. But my nomination is Dak Prescott. Moving on to Pete's vote. He says, I don't have the heart to double down on Jalen Hurts. It's just not in me. So Justin Herbert if he's nominated. And he is.
Well, there we go. I gotta nominate Jalen. I'm sorry. Like, I gotta vote for Jalen. It was a terrible game. I mean, both guys had bad games. I think Jalen had a worse game. No touchdowns, 4 picks, and a fumble, and a pick and a fumble in the same play. Like, I'm sorry, I can't. I gotta vote for Jalen.
Jalen Hurts became the first player in NFL history to turn it over twice in the same play. That's never happened before.
And for that, he's voted off the island.
For that, he's voted off the island.
Sounded like David Spade.
And with that, we are at 6 quarterbacks. We have Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, and Drake May. How is Sam Darnold and Drake May still here?
I looked at Darnold and May, and I looked at Darnold, and I'm like,
good.
Yeah. You know, I'll be honest, I went back and forth between Prescott and Goff, like, for about 5 minutes trying to decide which one to put up. And in the end, I went with the lower QBR, and Jared Goff had a lower QBR rating than Prescott. That's the only way I chose between the two. And I'm like, I've only got to put up one because I have to. But, like, yeah, that game was crazy. The fact that Dak had to throw 47 times, I'm like, that's just stupid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But moving on to the next section of the podcast. Winners and losers, where we here at the Geeks and Greeks podcast predict a team to win next week and a team to lose next week. We can only choose a team once per year, and at the end of the year, whoever has the most points wins. This year, we're turning up the difficulty with the rule that both the winning team and the losing team have to be from the same division. And as always, the winner and the loser must be from 2 different games. Last week, Pete went with the NFC South, taking the Buccaneers to win over the Saints. Unfortunately, the Saints shocked the world in a nail-biter final ending of 24-20. And then the Falcons to lose to the Seahawks. Yep, 37-9 in a crushing defeat. Adam took a big chance in the AFC South, picking the Texans to win over the Chiefs. Adam, long shot, paid off as from a tied game in the middle of the 4th, the Texans win the game with 10 unanswered points, winning the game 20-10. Unfortunately, he also took the Titans to lose to the Browns, which was the clash of the mediocre teams, ending with the Titans doubling their win count to 2 at 31-29.
Hey, you know what? If I was going to be wrong about one, I'd rather be wrong about the Titans losing to the Browns than the Texans losing to the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's way more impressive that you called the Texans. I went with the NFC North, and the Lions to win over the Cowboys. Sure did, 44-30, and the NFC. Oh, and then the Bears to lose to the Packers. Yep, 28-21. After week 14, Pete is at 14 points. I'm at 17, and Adam still holds the lead with 18 points. Officially crossing the 500 record for the season. It's only downhill from here.
Nah, nowhere to go but up.
Pete let us know his choice for this week. He's going to take the AFC South, taking the Texans over the Cardinals and the Titans to lose to the
Ooh. He's actually going to trust Mr. Irrelevant, huh?
I think he might have a good shot with this one.
Okay.
Adam, what division are you taking this week?
So I am taking the NFC North.
You can't pull the trigger on the East, can you?
No, because there wasn't two good matchups. I'm not picking. I can't pick. You know what? Honestly, I was going to pick the Cowboys to beat the Vikings, but I can't pick the Giants to lose to the Commanders. I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
Like, that's too that was the one that caused me to not pick it. It was too close,
Yep.
and I'm like, I think the Giants literally are a better team than the Commanders at this point. I don't think they're going to lose. So, I'm going with the Bears to beat the Browns as a 7.5-point favorite. And I'm going with the Vikings to lose to the Cowboys as a 5.5-point underdog. I was really, really close to picking the NFC East this week, though. I really was. It just, for some reason, I don't know. Like, it was the Giant. The sad part was the Giants game this week. The Giants game was the one that I couldn't pick because I'm like, I legitimately believe the Giants are going to probably beat the crap out of the Commanders.
All right, I went with the NFC West with the Seahawks to win over the Colts with a 13.5-point advantage.
I mean, yeah, when you're down to your 4-string practice squad that you signed out of the Hall of Fame, that's probably pretty fair.
And I took that knowing that the other half of that was the Rams to lose to the Lions with a -5 disadvantage.
That's, you know what, though? Rams Lions, that can go either way, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think 5 points is a bit much. I would give it a -2.5 myself, to be honest with you. Maybe 3.5.
But everyone's saying that the Rams are the favorite to win that game, and if I'm going to take the Seahawks with this kind of lead over the Colts, then I got to take the Rams to lose to the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, the Rams are the favorites to win the NFC, period, and go to the Super Bowl. So, which the way they've been playing, it's fair, but yeah, I don't know, man. That's trade one for the other, basically.
Yeah, I figured I'd cash in for one solid point, then lose them both.
Mm-hmm.
But that moves us into the NFL postmortem, starting with the Falcons, currently sitting at 4-9, having won over the Vikings, Commanders, Bills, and Saints. At the beginning of the season, Adam had the Falcons making it to the bubble before it popped. The Falcons went for defense, taking 2 edge rushers, Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., in the first round, and safety Xavier Watt in the third. What can you really say about the Falcons?
You know what? Honestly, at this point, Michael Penix just might not be that dude. Because he's also an older rookie quarterback coming in. So he should be more polished than he is. Like, I know sometimes we say we need to give the rookies more time to develop, but like, I'm sorry, dude, when you're already like almost 26 coming in, you don't get that much time. Same with Bo Nix. Like, I mean, I know we're not talking about the Broncos, but like, Bo Nix is already also like 26 years old. So it's like, I mean, some of these guys coming in because they transferred so much, they're not the younger like a lot of the guys that come in. So I mean, we'll see. But this year, I think the biggest thing is still the quarterback. Penix may not be that guy. We'll see. He's got to show something here coming up.
Speaking of quarterbacks, that moves us into the next team of our post-mortem. The Browns, currently sitting at 3-10, having won over the Packers, Dolphins, and Raiders. The Browns draft this year was addressing a list of problems and not focusing on a single area too much until the later rounds when they drafted 2 quarterbacks in the spite of having locked down Deshaun Watson. In all, the Browns had 8 quarterbacks in the 2025 budget, either active or dead cap space, 5 of which were active.
This is why Cleveland is Cleveland, all right? But I will say, starting Joe Flacco at the beginning of the year was not a bad thing.
No.
Because it gave the other rookies time to sit.
Correct.
Picking Dylan Gabriel third round was a terrible decision. Because Dylan Gabriel, coming into the draft, had a late 4th to early 5th round draft grade. So that right there at the beginning was a terrible pick to begin with. Picking Shedeur, look, Shedeur Sanders was the focus of the Browns draft. It's what everyone was focused on. Ever since he's been playing, he's played well. And honestly, I think it's because he got some time to sit. I know him and his dad made a huge deal. They don't want to sit. They didn't want to sit. They didn't want to go to teams where they'd sit behind established quarterbacks. And I partially understand what they were saying. Because to me, what they were saying wasn't necessarily that they didn't want to sit at all, was that they didn't want to sit for years behind guys. Like, they were talking about he didn't want to go to Baltimore and sit behind Lamar Jackson. I'm like, kind of fair, because he'd be there for like 6 years and never see the field probably. Now, he would have this year because Lamar did get hurt. But like in general, like, he'd never be a starting quarterback until he left Baltimore at some point, more than likely 2 or 3, 4 years down the line whenever he left. So I kind of get what he meant, but at the same time, like we said before, sitting rookie quarterbacks is the best thing for rookie quarterbacks. Yeah. It's so rare that these guys can come in and play at a high enough level to truly make the team better from the start. Because the game is so much faster and so much more intricate.
And if you're going to pick up Joe Flacco, don't pick up Kenny Pickett. There's no reason for it, no need for it.
The sad part is I'm pretty sure they had Pickett before they got Flacco.
Oh, did they?
Because I think they traded for Pickett and then they signed Flacco to like a vet minimum. And then they drafted 2 guys. So it's like if you're already gonna have 2 vets, don't draft 2 guys behind them. Pick 1, not 2.
And that's not even bringing into consideration Deshaun Watson, who is supposed to be your future, but
I mean, he's still there, but he's also still recovering from an Achilles tear.
Yeah, and he's also $35.9 million against the dead cap.
Yeah, fully guaranteed.
Ugh.
For, I think, 2 more years after this season. So you have 2 more seasons of Deshaun Watson.
I think that's right.
So you got next year and the year after before you can be done with them. Because nobody's going to take him, so you can't even trade him.
No. He is so toxic. Even if he was fully healthy, I don't know if anyone would take him.
Well, I mean, it would be different if he played well. If he had played well the last time we saw him, that'd be different. But he hadn't even played well.
Nah.
So the last time we saw him actually play as a good quarterback was like, what, 2019? It's been 6 years. Right. 5. It's been at least 5. So at bare minimum, it was COVID season. probably 2019. So it's been at least 5-6 years since we've seen Deshaun Watson play at the level that we remember Deshaun Watson being that guy. No one's trading for that. Not with that contract.
No, not a chance.
So it's like you're screwed. A good thing you don't really plan on bringing anybody in because it's Cleveland. No one wants to go there anyway. I mean, you can re-sign your own guys, but it's like, this is why I feel kind of bad. And like why when I used to play Madden, I like to rebuild the Browns because they're so bad. I wanted to make them good. I felt bad.
They were your pity project.
Yeah, them and the Lions were always the pity projects because they were always trash.
Moving on to the next team in the post-mortem. That's supposed to be a pig, but anyways, the Commanders currently sitting at 3-10, having won over the Giants, Raiders, and Chargers all within the first 5 weeks of the season, and have been on an 8-game losing streak ever since. We had high hopes for the Commanders with Adam taking them making a wild card spot. I had them making it to the divisional round, and Pete had them losing to the Eagles in the NFC Championship.
See, this is why I had him on the bubble, because I didn't believe what I saw last year. I wanted to see if they could repeat it. But it also doesn't help that Jaden Daniels was kind of banged up for a good part of this season.
Yeah.
But I will say also, when he did play, he wasn't the best, as we saw the sophomore slump coming into effect, which is also why I said when we did our initial quarterback rankings, I had him ranked lower than you guys because I didn't quite believe that rookie's year was going to carry over. I wanted to see at least one more year of that kind of production before I put him up that high. And this is why. So, but, I mean, I still think the Commanders are in a good spot. They've still got Jaden Daniels is still a really good quarterback. I mean, They've got young talent. They've got good talent as well, good and young talent to build around. So they're in a good position. They'll get a pretty decent draft pick. They'll still be able to build between the line and more on the defensive side, which is where I think they need the most help is on the defense. And a tight end, because Zach Ertz is done now after he got his ACL blown out this week. And he's even said that he's done.
Yeah, he's not hopeful.
Well, I mean, I think he's 34 or 35, something like that. Yeah, and he's even said, like, at this stage in his career, getting his ACL blown out, going through all that to come back to what he was, he's pretty much said that he's done now because of it. So, I mean, they're in a good position to keep building, and I think they will. I just think that they just need to kind of bolster that offensive line a bit, get some more defensive help, and they'll be good in a year or two. So I think they'll be back. It was a down year for the team, and we'll see what happens. And hey, you know what, though? Honestly, Mariota hasn't been that bad as a backup quarterback. So keep Mariota around as a backup in that system. I think they'll be pretty good, too. And they traded their starting running back, like, right before the season started.
Moving on to the last team of the post-mortem. The Jets, currently sitting at 3-10, have won over the Bengals, Browns, and Falcons, but only after achieving a 0-7 start. The Jets drafted offensive tackle Armand Membu, but that was not enough to save their dumpster fire of the season.
I don't even know where to start with this team. I just feel bad, man. Like, I feel so bad for this team because, like, what was it? Was it 3 years ago when they made the playoffs and we're like, dude, they're a quarterback away from making a real push. And they get Rodgers, and we're like, cool. Like, they got Rodgers. You know, I think they're going to make a real push. Fourth play of the game, snaps his Achilles. And then, like, it's like all the momentum just completely died, and they reverted back to being the Jets. And, like, it's so insane because, like, from that offseason to from the season before to that one, like, they got some good players. Like, you know, they even had Zach Wilson, who was the quarterback they had the year they made the playoffs, and they were terrible. And it's like they have talent on that team. Brees Hall is good. Garrett Wilson's a good player. They had guys like Quinnen Williams who got traded to Dallas, who's a great defensive tackle. They had Sauce Gardner, who's a great, cornerback that got traded to Indy. They've got really good, talented players. But for some reason, they can never put it together. Like, at this point, I don't think it's a player's problem. It's an organizational problem. And it starts with the trash owner. Like, they have to find some way to get Woody Johnson to sell that team. Because honestly, it can't get worse. He's already the worst owner in the league. It can't get any worse than it already is. Maybe the second worst owner.
Team out of his hands.
Like, it can't. He's probably maybe the worst or second worst owner. It can't get any worse. Like, I don't think it could. I don't know how it could get any worse. But like, I honestly feel bad for Jets fans and for the players because they have good players. They truly do. Like, I feel bad for Justin Fields. I love Justin Fields coming into the draft. Like, it's kind of a bias because I'm an Ohio State fan. He was an Ohio State quarterback. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. Now, he got drafted in a bad position. He went to Chicago where they rotated, head coaches and coordinators like a carousel. And he never had any consistency. So, it put him behind. But, like, I think at this point, unfortunately, I think he'd be a great backup at this point in his career, unfortunately. I don't think he'll ever be a true starting quarterback in the NFL for a decent team, even. I think at best he can maybe be a starting quarterback for a 500 or for an average team that's around 500. I don't think he'd be a winning quarterback in the NFL unless something miraculous happens to turn his career around. Unfortunately, I don't like saying it. I really like him. I do. I want better for him. But like at this point, he's been in the league at least probably 5 years, maybe 6. We might see a turnaround, but he's got to find his way onto a competent team as a backup and not a starter at this point. It's the only way it's going to happen. Like, shit, go to Baltimore for a couple of years, sit behind Lamar Jackson, or go to Buffalo, sit behind Josh Allen, or go to Kansas City and sit behind Patrick. Go somewhere where you have an established top-tier quarterback and sit behind him for a couple of years, or a top coaching staff and sit and learn from for a couple of years, and maybe it might work out for Fields, but I don't know how else it's going to work out. Because if he keeps going to these teams like this, where he can get these fringe starting jobs, it's going to be bad. He's never going to truly develop like he probably could have. But I just feel bad for the Jets because, like I said, there's good players there, and I like Aaron Glenn as a coach, and hopefully he can turn it around. But let's see what happens. So I hold out hope. Maybe stupidly, but I hold out hope.
But that wraps us up for the post-mortem.
All right. And with the end of the post-mortem, we'll move on into our final thoughts for the show and then go on in. So, what do we have for final thoughts today?
This weekend, we had the Purdue-Iowa State game for basketball. I found this game interesting because it paired up the two greatest out-of-conference records in college basketball. Since 2021, Purdue is 48-3 out of conference, and Iowa State was 51-6 out of conference. Going into this game, Purdue was ranked first, while Iowa was ranked 10th. This game was close until the second half, starting up by 4. Iowa State was able to expand their lead to 15, and then it just got horrible from there, finally ending in 81-58. This was a big loss for Purdue, going from number 1 down to number 6 in the Big Ten, and raising Iowa State to number 1 in the Big 12.
Yeah. I don't think Purdue's as good as they have been the last couple of years, and that's going to happen. You had Zach Edey leave. You had him there the last 2 years as your basically as the Wooden. I think it's the Wooden Award. It's basically the Heisman Trophy, but for basketball. I forget what it's called for the basketball season. Sorry, guys, but it's basically the basketball version of the Heisman Trophy. He won it the last 2 seasons, so. You lose a player like that, it's going to greatly affect the team, and they're going to have to kind of change and adjust. And so Purdue's always been one of those teams that's never relied on a star player. They've always been more team basketball, which to a point will work, but I don't know, like to me with basketball, you always need that one guy. And we've talked about this on other shows in the offseason talking about basketball. You need at least one guy that can go get you a basket or two. And if you don't have that, it's really hard to win, even in college. Even in college, you need at least a guy that can go get you a basket. When it comes down to crunch time and things break down, you got to go get a basket. So, and Purdue just doesn't have that, but they are still a really good basketball team, and they can be fun to watch. But we'll see what happens this year with them and with the college season going on. And I've gotten to catch some college games this year, and it's been kind of fun to see some of the top players and getting to see them in kind of scouting and looking at the NBA draft and further ahead for the draft coming up this summer and things like that. In that note, moving into NBA, we've got the NBA Cup going on right now. Yesterday, we had the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks make the semifinals for the NBA Cup in Vegas. And then today we have the Suns and the Thunder playing right now, and the Spurs and Lakers playing for the Western Conference today to see who makes it to Vegas for the NBA Cup on the Western Conference side. And right now I'm going to say the Thunder will beat the Suns because they are leading 80-48.
Oh, wow.
In the third.
Jeez, yeah,
it is the third quarter right now with 10:29 left, and the Thunder are up 80-48. So I think the Thunder are probably going to win their game. Probably. If you want to get any parlays in, now's the time to do it because they have live parlays going. And then the Spurs and Lakers play later tonight at 10 o'clock in LA. So, but that'll be fun. And then we'll have the semifinals and finals in Las Vegas. And so those are always fun. Neutral court right around Christmas time. So good times had by all. So, I love NBA basketball. College basketball is always fun as well. It's fun to watch the guys, being able to kind of see what happens before they get to the draft and watch them in live games and not just, highlight reels and highlight tapes and all that kind of stuff. So, but unless you got anything else, Tom.
No, that's it for me.
That'll be it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Geeks and Greeks. Until next time, guys, may the coin toss of life ever be in your favor. Later.